Let's move on to sharing the message in the light of divine unity. In other words, if we become conscious of this, how does it affect the way we teach? If you wouldn't mind, number 95.
Quote 95. Say, through it the poor have been enriched, the learned enlightened, and the seekers enabled, to ascend unto the presence of God. Beware lest ye make it a cause of dissension amongst you.
I would suggest that looking in the light of divine unity, you can see that not everybody do you say everything to. You try to understand who you're talking to, so that not to raise contention. Leave everyone with a positive sense of what the word Baha'i means. So you can enrich people by giving them the beauty of the cause, what we Baha'is are about. We're Muslims, Christians, Jews, Buddhists, Hindus. We've come together to set a course to changing the world into a beautiful, unified garden of humanity. We honor the past, but we know we have to change to not continue some of the problems of the past. Sometimes that's all you can say, and this is called Baha'i. You enrich people's life when you give them hope and something beautiful to think about, particularly if you know they're not really interested in wanting to know more. And then, if they do want more, of course you give them more. You give them the principles and what it's going to take to bring this beautiful world. And if they're still interested, you teach them the religion, the facts, the information, the names. But if you introduce names and facts too early, sometimes they shut down before they even get a chance to hear about the beautiful spirit of this new age that we're living in. So I'm suggesting you find some people who don't want to go very far, but you enrich their perception of life a little bit. Then you'll meet people who've got it all figured out. They are already a member of a group. They're already firm in what they believe. But if you can broaden their vision a bit, give them a perception of maybe being a little more open than they were before they met you, you've done a good job. You've taught the faith. And then when you find somebody who really wants to know and they're truly thirsty, you can take them the whole journey and take them to the Lord. But if you try to give too much too early to the wrong people, you create a discord. We Baha'i should leave no soul in conflict. We should stop before we get to that point, I would like to say. Divine unity says, leave everyone in a positive spirit when you're through speaking to them about the things of God. Because you understand there are three. There's the cause of God, the hope and dream. There's the faith of God, the principles that it'll take to change the world. And then there's a religion of God which gives you a clear focus, a clear-eyed idea of how you can line yourself up to become a part of this wonderful day and age.
So we continue with quote 96. As they gradually strayed from the path of their ideal leader and master, as they turned away from the light of God and corrupted the principles of His divine unity, and as they increasingly centered their attention upon them who were only the revealers of the potency of His word, their power was turned into weakness, their glory into shame, their courage into fear. Thou dost witness to what a pass they have come.
He actually goes on to say, and I hope this community doesn't repeat this. It's referring to Shia Islam. How when they started out and they followed Muhammad and the imams, they had a clear pathway. But after the passing of the imams, at first there were enlightened leaders who only shared the enlightenment as they saw it. But eventually they started claiming authority and started trying to tell people what they ought to think instead of sharing with people what they saw. And they corrupted, instead of listening and watching the teachings of Muhammad and the imams, they started to follow the leaders of the day, and they created clouds of obscuring illusions that has brought them to such a place today where they are in the fix of violence and misapprehension of their own scriptures, as you see today. But this happens to every religion. In the past, every time they leave the truth of their leader and start following the teachings of those who believe in the manifestation of God, error starts to creep in. And you just multiply this by generations, it's a problem. Now, it's not that there aren't illumined souls. It's this need to have power and authority over others that causes so much problem. So we don't want to leave in our day and time. We don't want to forget the big picture of Baha'u'llah. Even though we study many other aspects of the Baha'i faith, remember the purpose for which the Baha'i faith has been brought, the noble goal, the noble standards, and not get so caught up in the issues and particulars as to forget what this is really all about. Don't forget the significance and spirit of what we're doing in getting caught up in the everyday life of being religious or being whatever we choose to be. We keep in mind the ultimate spirit and purpose for what we're doing. Number 97.
Quote 97. The teacher when teaching must be himself fully enkindled, so that his utterance, like unto a flame of fire, may exert influence and consume the veil of self and passion. He must also be utterly humble and lowly, so that others may be edified, and be totally self-effaced and evanescent, so that when he may teach with the melody of the concourse on high, otherwise his teaching will have no effect.
Unless we have a fire in our own heart, we cannot be a flame of fire to the illusionary world. That's what it takes to exert influence and become effective. And we have to consume the veil of self and passion. Those are the issues that get in the way. What we want to be and the feelings of what we want. Okay. He must also be utterly humble and lowly, so that others may be edified. His purpose has to be about who he's trying to help and enlighten and serve. And but in the end, I want to draw attention, he needs to teach with the melody of the concourse on high. It's not about facts and information. It's about the sweetness and beauty of the music of this message. It has a beautiful aspect to it. It's the artistic, you might say. That's why in the early days when Baha'u'llah was going into coffee shops, he didn't declare, he didn't tell people who he was. He didn't give them the facts. He shared with them such a beautiful perception of reality that they called him the Blessed Beauty. And it wasn't because he was cute. We have to realize, first we have to start with the beauty of the message, then the beautiful principles that support it, and then the beautiful religion. I suggest to you there's a way that we're to proceed when we understand divine unity. Start with the heart and work to the rest of it.
Quote 98. There lay concealed within the holy veil, and prepared for the service of God, a company of his chosen ones, who shall be manifested unto men, who shall aid his cause, who shall be afraid of no one.
I pray and hope that all this is for one purpose, to awaken souls who are both present and witnessing this, to gain some sense of your calling, of God's purpose for you, how you too are being prepared for the work that is to happen. I pray that you are in fact one of the chosen ones that this is referring to. There's not as few as there used to be. Now there's many more are called. Anyone who's come to know who Baha'u'llah is has an opportunity to be one of these chosen ones. We don't want to waste the opportunity. One thing, don't be afraid of what people think of you. That's one of the key pieces. Don't be afraid to be rejected. Don't be afraid to be seen as somewhat a strange individual.
Quote 99. The continent of America is in the eyes of the one true God, the land wherein the splendors of his light shall be revealed, where the mysteries of his faith shall be unveiled, where the righteous will abide and the free assemble.